Hey, hello. Thank you for clicking on this video. This is an unedited episode of me and Zach breaking down his track, Me Don't Stand For Nothing. We both get pretty in-depth and rambly about things, so I've timestamped and labelled the different sections. You can jump to a part that interests you. Definitely not expecting many people to watch the whole thing, so here it is.
Should we start breaking down the song?
Mm-hmm.
I think we should start by having a listen from top to bottom. This is
Okay.
Me Don't Stand For Nothing by Zac Leibo.
Never have I boycotted business, and I don't care for protesting much.
Yeah, boy. Come on. There's some
Yeah.
cool stuff in there.
I definitely, the more I listen to it, I like remember stuff that we put in and,
Yeah.
things that are just like in the background that,
Yeah.
especially if you like wearing headphones and you can just like hear all the little things going on.
Yeah. Yeah. In terms of like the main body of the production, I do feel like it is really, really focused around like the vocals and the way that the guitars are arranged and almost played like you're doing it all at once. Like,
Mm.
I don't really hear too many separate guitar parts. Like the rhythm part is super focused and the vocal is super focused, and it feels like everything else is built around that to me. Like the bass
it
is
almost
built around that.
Yeah, it almost could be like drums, bass, that one rhythm guitar and the vocal. But I think also something that you brought to it was just the textures of like, because it just is that one rhythm guitar part. The stuff that makes the sections different is with like the layers and the different textures that come in, like subtle
Definitely.
things.
Like I think especially the second verse, there's a lot in there that we can jump into, because I remember specifically trying to, you wrote a very long second verse and I thought, okay, I want to be able to structure this so that the energy rises and falls. And then before
It gets
like,
a bit more sort of like acousticy, doesn't it?
yeah.
Yeah.
The textures switch out, but it's really the same part all the way through.
Which there were some interesting things. Like I remember thinking, I think a lot of this track also like you reined me in quite a bit and made it more cohesive than it would have been.
Right.
And, like because I definitely remember like wanting to make that whole section acoustics, and I think you're right to like rein that in a bit.
I don't actually remember fighting with you on that.
I don't know. I just
happened, right?
It must, yeah. But I think there are a few other things like that where we can talk about in the. I don't even know what to call them. The bit where I do the guitar riff. It's not really a chorus. It's not really a bridge. It happens twice in the song that everybody like to think. Yeah. There's some few bits in that where you reined it in a little bit, which I think was a good shout. But no, what was the first one? The guitar.
Yeah.
The acoustics. Yeah.
The acoustics. Well, I think it kind of, what I really wanted to highlight breaking this down is just you as a musician, what you have done as a musician so far, and how that influences your sense of demoing and production.
I guess in terms of demoing and stuff, I know one thing with some of the other songs that we did. I mean, you've made a couple of comments about just wanting like a very simple demo, like acoustic guitar or vocals or something.
Yeah.
I think I've tended to prefer to sort of flesh it out a little bit, because more on my side, I kind of want to know what it might end up sounding like before, and I almost do that while writing the song. So it'll be interesting to see, like one day, doing a song where I literally do just keep it very plain with acoustic guitar and vocal, because when we go into production, there's quite a lot of like assumptions already there based on if I have made a demo,
Right?
And then are we like sort of chasing that as a sort of guide, or are we doing like something else?
Yeah, I feel like when you bring your demos, they have a lot of information there that's like bang on, like perfectly suited, because you've been making the demo as you've been writing the song. It all has kind of formed at the same time, and because of the way that your ear gravitates to certain arrangement things as part of your songwriting palette, there's always so much to keep in the demos, especially I think just generally like your harmonic arrangements never really need to be changed. Just generally the harmony of your songs doesn't change very much from the start of the demo. The rhythm doesn't normally change very much, and it's normally just the kind of micro of how the parts slot together and then how we layer up on that. That especially happened with this one. I'm trying to see if I can find the original demo for this.
Oh, okay. I've got it. If you want me to send it to you.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah,
chuck it over. And we'll
it's
play
crazy.
through, we'll have a listen.
It's almost embarrassing though. That's the thing. But I will say
you don't have to play it.
I think I wouldn't bother making a demo like this anymore. Essentially, is what I'm saying. Because
Why?
there's no.
How come?
Because on it, like there's no real point. Like it's always a song that it's programmed drums. Even if you program like really great sounding drums, it's just not going to be totally right for the song anyway. So like, why bother trying to?
That's really interesting.
Dress it up, you know.
What led you to that feeling?
I just think if the demo's not going to have the right vibe immediately, then there's almost no point making the demo, I feel. Because
So you're arguing almost against using demos as a reason to practice production?
I think if you're going to make, I feel like if you're going to make a demo that's fleshed out, that actually has lots of tracks on it, then you should almost view it in a way like some of those things should survive into the production. Do you know what I mean?
You should be treating it like a final take. And
and
like something you're confident on, not putting it forwards.
Yeah, and just like expecting like, you know, some of it to even make it into the final thing, which I think actually, I don't know about this one, but there's things in Ready for My Chip that made it in, just because at the end of the day, I preferred just certain things that I did on the initial takes. Just like feeling wise, that I couldn't quite recreate again. Right. So like, if you are going to do a demo, it's like, just go with the intention of some of it might actually make it.
Yeah.
I don't know how you feel about that, but that's just sort of where I've come to it.
I think in a way your perspective probably matters more than mine. In terms of you also being someone who you quite actively want to practice your production skills and using them to your advantage. I think your mentality towards when it's time to make a demo and what that means to your songwriting process versus distracting yourself with other potential things that can take away from the songwriting process.
Yeah.
I think is really important. Let's take a listen.
I like cheap flights to Europe. I'm burning petrol by the gallon. I want my order, deliver by tomorrow. Don't care how you do it, just make it happen. I know about the sea.
You treated it like a band arrangement. I think you basically had drums, bass, 2 guitars and vocals, and that was it. And you had no BV arrangement at that point, which some songwriters would probably be putting a BV arrangement in early. But the arc of it is there. Did we change the structure at the start with the lyrics, or am I freaking out?
No,
we didn't.
Oh,
okay.
No.
Yeah, one thing we did was we ramped up the speed in the intro.
Oh yeah, that was funny. Well, I think that became a lot more important once the van noise came in.
Yeah, because we wanted it to feel like it was revving up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
and that van noise, that was my real van. That ain't no sample. That is a real old van. That
you came in.
I came with it.
Did you have a Zoom recorder, or did you just use your phone?
No, I borrowed it was like a Tascam or like a Zoom thing, just one of those things. And I did a bunch of takes. I tried some outside, just like all around the van, see where it sounded best. And the best one actually that we ended up using was inside the cab, just like on top of the dash. And the take is really funny. If you play the take, it's like the van almost doesn't start. It wasn't like it could have died at any moment. Like it wasn't a clean rev at all.
This van was not healthy.
Yeah, but like it like kind of chokes a little bit, and then it actually survives, which kind of works for the intro. I feel.
Here it is.
The door noise as well, of course. It takes a while.
So by the time the song comes in, we don't actually hear the full engine rev. We still hear it's trying to start up, and then the song kicks in.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I remember loving sequencing this. I found like this made me so excited when we heard it.
Yeah, but then
it tells so much of a story to me.
Yeah, and when we tried to put the guitar in, it sounded really weird if it was like full steam ahead straight away.
Right. Yeah.
So it's sort of, and then I guess I would have like just sort of played it how I felt it, and then you would have like, I don't know what you did with the like automated the tempo. Or I don't know if you would have needed to do that, or
I think what we did was I drew in a line, probably. Yeah, here we are. We started at 145 and then we did a ramp up, and I think you played along to the click changing. I think we figured out how long you wanted to be playing it for,
and then
at a certain time,
yeah.
and then we would have replayed it. Maybe we even punched it in. Should we find out? I think it's one clean take. Okay. So we counted in at 145. I must have given you 2 bars a click going in, and then immediately it starts ramping up the moment you start playing. And that's how we did it. I think we drew in the map and sped it up like that. We must have had a take before this as well, because this is the only recording on this channel.
Are those the Soldana? I mean, I only assumed that we end up using the Soldanas, but didn't we have like a cab set up, and then there was like 5 or 6 amps that we could flick through?
Yeah, we had it on an amp switcher at the studio.
But I think from memory, I think we like the Soldana, and that's what we used most of. But I can't remember.
I wonder if
exactly.
I've written it down. I've not written it down.
But there was
this was a live amp. I think this is the room sound we're hearing, and that's the mic sound.
Oh right, so that intro is just room sound then.
A lot of it is room sound.
A lot of it is room sound.
I had a stereo room mic set up. It's really cool. Yeah, so much of your playing influences production decisions that I can suggest. Like I want you to explain more about your background in terms of gigging and bands, and why that impacts you as an artist.
Well, I clearly grew up on like lots of classic rock music, and that comes across, and particularly this one. I feel like this one, just for context, like we did like was it 5? Yeah, 5 songs last year, but this one is probably the most. Spoiler alert. This one's the most like just straight ahead. Yeah, like just rock, classic rock. I mean, you can't really get away from it. Yeah, it's like a bluesy element. But yeah, I see where you come from. I guess I've played in bands and stuff like that, but I guess it just carries across in the writing. I think I may have mentioned like a couple of times wanting to make these songs a certain way, and I think you were right to produce them the way they want to be produced, not try and make them something else. So at the end of it is like a bluesy classic rock song with like slightly ironic satirical lyrics that you might suit kind of like a pop thing more, like a sort of like alt pop thing more that you might hear. But the two together, at the end of the day, the music is still quite classic rock based. So like you have to make it like that. It needs to be live drums. It needs to be like loud, like crunchy guitars. Yeah. And to make it something else would be like not doing it justice, I think.
I think that the modern element will come through no matter what. I think if you don't try and force it, you're still, by the time you get to the studio, you've done your writing, you've said, okay, this song is presenting itself when I try and sit down and play it without thinking about it. It presents itself in a certain way. But when it comes down to making decisions about textures, layering, structure, things like that you do by the time you start working with the producer, if you're interested in modern music and you want to push it that way, I think it's going to happen naturally. And I don't think this song sounds not poppy. I think this is quite poppy. I can see loads of people enjoying this.
Yeah, and I think also like obviously stuff like the gang vocal things, and then like adding in sound effects and stuff, which is also something like I don't want to make it seem like I'm keep on repeating this phrase about you reining me in and stuff, but like you also need that other voice, because that can get kind of a bit cliche and like a bit too much in the realm of like making it too much of like
trying
a joke,
to push things too modern. Yeah,
exactly, and also just like making it too lighthearted, but at the same time, because of the lyrics of this song, it was like heavily ironic. It needed some of that stuff to like make it make sense. So I'd love to have a little look at some of the sound effects at some point as well that we put
100%. Yeah.
in.
Should we break down? Okay, because there's so much that I'm excited about. It's in the drums, in the bass as well. Let's go through the sound effects, and then should we start working it down in terms of the rhythm tracks?
Yeah, we can do the rhythm first. It might make more sense
Yeah.
to carry on with the
Yeah.
main sort of instruments.
Yeah.
If you want.
So this one, I remember we brought your demo in with stems straight into the studio. I remember this, where Patrick, our wonderful drummer on this song, basically was playing along to your original demo, and I had to have an idea of how I wanted the song to be structured, because your demo had the full open hi-hat thing. I had an idea. I was forced to communicate exactly how the song should swell and come back down to earth in the hi-hat part. So if I go across to like the second verse, you know what? Let's go from this riff here, and I'm gonna solo out the drums. Let's take a listen. So second verse, straight down to that closed hat. Patrick really understood the dynamic here.
Yeah, he got this song.
I think he just knew it.
Yeah. Just a little bit open in that riff, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, I was gonna mention. I've noticed this about your drums, just listening to like the stems that you sent through, and it's not only this song; it's in other songs. You have like a really ambient kick drum sound.
Okay, interesting. Compared to like, what?
Well, it's like you don't hear it when it's in the track, but I've gotten used to it now. But I remember specifically when you sent me the stems to Nobody Else, I was like, I can't believe this is what the drums sound like, because in the context of the song, it sounds completely different to me.
Interesting.
But there's this really like airy ambient kick sound, and it's in this as well. But I was just wondering like if that's like a conscious thing that you do.
Well, with this song, Patrick was like, should I bring my own kit? Like the studio we went to has a kit and sounds nice, but Patrick brought in this beautiful golden sparkly vintage Gretsch kit, and I wish I knew the name of the model, but I'm not that deep into drum lore. But it didn't have a ported head on the kick drum, and I almost panicked because I thought, oh my god, this kick drum needs to punch, because it's a kind of, the guitars are massive. The kick drum's going to need to punch through the top of those guitars, or you're not going to really be able to feel it. So what I ended up doing was miking out the beta head to try and just get a bit more of that click. And we might have even switched out the pedal to a clickier pedal. I don't remember. I'm going to solo just the kick mics together, which I got grouped. Almost sounds like a basketball. And there's all that bleed. So I slapped a D6 on the beta, which is a really clicky, it's almost a bit of a meme, the D6, because it shapes your drums into this single sound that just sounds like a D6.
D6, is that a compressor or?
So this is an Audix D6 mic.
A mic, sorry.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about the treatment for a second.
No. Yeah, so an Audix D6 is this mic that really, it's a very heavy, stylized mic, I'd say. It's got this really aggressive EQ scoop in the middle and this really aggressive clicky sound to it that no matter how you tune your kick drum or where you put it, you're always you basically guarantee that you're going to get some kind of click happening. And you can hear that here, and I've decapitated it, so I've got some distortion on it as well. And this was my attempt at getting as much click out of the kick drum as I could. But on the flip side, I think it's really nice that it's not too aggressive of a sound as a whole. Like I've tried to bring out enough click just to make it visible. But it's
and then
not over the top.
Where's that like sort of airiness coming from? Is that like a further away mic in front of the kick, or is it?
I had a stereo mic set up, an R88 mic, which is like a stereo ribbon mic set up in front of the kit, and I call this front of kit, and I had a far room mic, which was a mono. Let's listen to this far room. Okay, so this was the trashy behind the piano sound.
Oh yeah.
Piano in the studio. There's this really interesting hand-built ribbon mic that Tom, the studio owner, has, and you put it behind a piano, and it gives you this crazy sound. Makes it sound massive.
Is that
quite
in
a
the
small
track
room.
at all?
This is in the track. Yeah, it's going to this bus called High End. But we're getting a lot of that air on the kick drum from this front of kit as well.
Yeah, I can hear it there. Yeah.
So this is our front of kit. That's as far as we have for rooms on this track. Overheads sound like this. So a lot of that kind of kick warmth is coming from this selection of mics. And it's not the most accurate image of the kit. It's quite like... It's not hi-fi.
No, but you're just sort of like hearing that in the background, aren't you? It's not
Totally.
the main sound that you're getting.
Yeah. Yeah. I love the drums on this track. I think Patrick nailed it because he plays with a lot of touring blues artists. He's really into that. So I just felt like he was the person to call here. In terms of your experience of working with a session drummer as an artist, what was that like for you? Was there an element of trust that was new to adopt for you?
No, like I think obviously I hadn't met him before. He turned up and played on the session, but like I trusted you because you picked him. Yeah. So that always helps. It wasn't like I just typed in on the internet like session drummer and then but like the first person that came up. Right. It was like you already had a relationship with him, so that definitely helps a lot. But no, it was really fun. I remember like I really loved that like sort of first day vibe of like tracking drums. And like the whole process because it was it was quite like modern sort of process, like it was like quite chopped up and stuff. It's not
right,
like
we didn't do it in a
one
band
take
room.
Yeah, like it's not like it's just one take then move on. Like it's quite a lot of dropping up, which is really fun. You can get really like specific with
we did take on take here. Let me look at the number of takes we did. I pushed Patrick to his limits. I remember I think he hated it. Okay, this isn't, looking back on it, this isn't that bad. But I remember pushing him really hard on this one. Maybe for
we did this song quite quick. Yeah. Ready for My Chip took most of the day from what I recall. Yeah.
I think we have 13 takes, including punch-ins, which isn't that many.
Okay, that's
That's actually impressive. Yeah. That's wonderful.
Yeah, you just got it right away.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you about the bass sound as well.
Yeah.
I think just in general, last year doing these songs with you, I was like, wow, like if you listen to the bass sound, it's so much more saturated and distorted than I would imagine.
It's disgusting.
Would work. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you don't really hear it in the track, and in the track it just comes across as like being audible, you know.
Right. It's got to fight against the guitars, and it's got to serve its purpose against them and play alongside them as well.
And there's a double in there, which I never knew was in there.
Yeah, there's a double.
I don't know what,
isn't there?
Yeah, what the hell is that?
Or it's an octave thing. Let's find out. So I have a bass parallel fuzz channel. Let's listen to just the track. Let's say verse 3.
I'll do anything to help out, sir. Honestly, anything under the sun. I've got a new smart meter in the kitchen to keep tabs under the hood. My belt was made from recycled straws. I wear it just to make me feel good.
And the Greek guitars. Okay. Yeah, I love this part of the song. I played the bass on this. Zac's, gotta give him credit. Zac's an incredible bass player. Your demo for this was great.
Not as fancy though.
Right. I just felt like there were areas where I wanted to dial in some ideas and present them.
It really works having it like a busier part.
Yeah. I actually felt like your part in the demo, in the intro, like in the first verse, was actually a bit busier than mine.
Oh, okay.
You were throwing in some licks like consistently that I think I didn't.
But you've got to double the guitar more I would expect, which I think really works, particularly on like on the riff. You know, where I think my instinct would just be to like chug on a note or a couple of notes and not exactly copy it. But I think just for that bit, it's like the whole song's like turning over and
The
doing
unisons. Yeah. Right.
Also, is that where the double is on those bits?
Yeah. So I've got this channel called Parallel Fuzz coming in. It's just a decap with a bit of the lows cut out, quite a lot of the lows cut out.
Also,
and is this linear? No, it's zero latency. Okay, so this goes against what they teach you. That's fine.
do you reckon that's something you did in the mix then? Because I don't remember that being like specifically a production thing.
Chances are this was a mix thing. So yeah, this is my mix session that we're breaking down. Let's have a listen. Like, I want to hear this Parallel Fuzz. It's really like putting a like fuzz factory on the bass, like a ZVEX pedal, right? And I'm playing with the panning,
and it's panned. Yeah, that's the thing.
Which is automated as well. Let's listen to just the bass channel. I'll mute the fuzz. It's actually quite girthy.
And that's my Epiphone EB thing, isn't it?
That's your Epiphone EB bass thing, SG bass, with just the neck pickup and dead strings. So I would have tracked this through. This is my channel strip. So what I'd be doing here is creating a channel strip with a aux and then just recording straight out that channel strip so I can commit to a sound.
What's on the channel strip? What is making the sound? Like, is there an amp sim, or have you like made something up with like EQ and compression?
So let me share my screen properly. Okay. Let's share my entire screen here. Can you see this?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay. So we have a 1073 channel strip emulation. And I think, no, so sometimes I'd crank the gain on this, get some distortion, but I was going through a phase of really loving the compression on this channel strip. I have a bit of the lows boosted, a bit of the upper mids, kind of mid-mids boosted. Actually, that's 8 dB of like 35 boosted. So that's adding quite a bit of sub to the bass. Then this adds a bit of saturation and compression. And you can see the recording in here, pretty compressed. That's kind of my goal here.
Because when you recorded this, you were using your Helix, right?
I was using my Helix, but we tracked this in my home studio. I remember there was a day where we tracked bass in Trapdoor Studio, and I used the compressor on my Helix pedal. I'm not too stingy about analog gear in general. I'm completely happy committing digital sounds, plugins, Helix effects, like multi-effect pedals. If someone brings in a cheaper multi-effects pedal, if it sounds good, we record it. But if I think that we can actually get a better sound using something else, then I'll suggest it. But just because someone's using something cheaper and they're bringing it in, it doesn't mean we're not going to use it necessarily.
Yeah. No, I was just wondering what the main like amp sound was.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, it's just we just recorded it DI going in at your home studio. So I just wondered like what is. So I guess it's whatever. Like you like fiddle through like presets and stuff on the Helix, don't you?
Yeah, but chances are for this, I was probably just using it as a tuner because the majority of the sound I can see, I've got compression and I've got this Saturate 2 plugin here. I have a feeling the settings on this have reset because they pushed out an update where it deleted all the settings in your past projects, which was annoying. But yeah, tracked it with EQ, compression, slammed, digital, don't care. Sounds good. Record it. Get a sense of where it sits in the mix straight away by doing that and play the sound. You're kind of creating the part with the sound in mind, and you're hearing that, you're getting that feedback loop where you get to make good music straight away rather than delaying decisions. And then it lets you kind of put in these interesting fuzzy effects later when you decide that the mix needs it as well.
Yeah.
Let's play the bass and the drums together. This is the volume automation. It's actually like fading down.
How much do you worry about following what the kick drum is doing, or do you just?
Well,
Yeah.
Patrick made this part without a specific bass part in mind. I don't think he might have been following the demo part, but I was really, really playing around his part. I was just listening, trying to find pockets of consistent groove to play around with it. But also in terms of dynamic of the song, I'm thinking things need to have more gaps here. Things need to be more full here. Because I knew that we'd have these larger sections that we were beginning to shape out. So if I play in with the guitars together, I feel like this really, you get the main dynamic of the song with these three parts. We have these beautiful Nashville parts, man. I love them.
I like the Nashville. There's also a bit at the end. The Nashville at the end. If you listen to it solo, it's like, it's so nice.
The final
at the
chorus.
end, it's like a Joni Mitchell part, and it's like double, triple track, whatever it is.
Oh, this one was beautiful.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite isolated part. Yeah.
Let's listen to it in context.
Yeah, play those soloed for a second, because it's almost like
freaking out when you came up with these inversions.
Oh yeah, it's just like fun, like just classic stuff.
Come on, Zach. Come on, let me hear that again. Come on.
Just the Nashville makes it sound like so like airy and
that is such a cool part.
It's during a guitar solo, so it's almost like when you put it in the whole track, it has to be like the level it's at, and it can't like be the main thing that you notice,
right?
Which is just come back to like production things, like you have to make like sacrifice, but it's doing its job where it is. And I think like, even I don't know if you remember, but at this end, I made a comment about wanting like some kind of like honky tonk piano thing to come in as well, but then you were
feels like a honky tonk piano.
Yeah, kind of doing
really
that job,
does.
isn't it? But also, it goes back to the thing of, well, I don't play honky tonk piano. Like you play, I don't even know to what extent you play piano and keys. I mean, obviously you do like synths and stuff on things. You play.
I can mess around with synths.
You mess around,
I'm not
but
really
like
a player.
Yeah, and that just goes back to the thing of like, you'd like maybe a honky tonk piano player, but you don't have one like on hand. So what are you gonna do? You know, you've got to do it. Yeah, and it doesn't need it. I remember you saying, "Oh, we can make this like more fat in the mix." Which is definitely true. Like it doesn't. Yeah, there's so much there already. I mean, there's a slide, there's a Nashville's.
Right.
You can't throw like a million things on it.
Yeah, I remember you weren't that happy with the slide solo, and I feel like you kind of gave up. And I said, "No, that's the one."
Oh, really?
Do you remember recording it?
Yeah, I remember recording it. And I remember the last little bit is you grabbing the guitar neck, the guitar neck at the end.
That's me literally.
Yeah, just to like end it. But I think we did quite a few takes of that, and I can't remember if that was a comp of a couple. But
this is a comp of what looks like.
You might have just moved those last ones.
5.5 parts. Yeah, I don't know what happened here. Did I cut out some noise in the middle or something?
Yeah.
Right. I think I used room tone from a different take. So I'd crushed the room tone here that was on the studio computer, an SSL channel strip. Absolutely crushed it on the day just through the SSL compressor. And I don't have that plugin, so I committed it on the day, but this really smashed sound. Awesome. I had a bit of stereo widening too. Right, so this was the stereo room sound. And then with the widener.
Oh yeah. It's
And
funny,
then
like with that.
this in the middle.
What is that?
This is the mic. So really the majority of the sound is
Oh, that's thin,
the room.
isn't it?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
just this in the center. Just to brighten it up.
I noticed with the widening there, with that kind of widening, it sounded like it was literally just some kind of delay on the right channel. But
Ding, ding, ding.
what you get with that is it sounds like it's panned left, doesn't it? Because it comes first. So that's kind of weird that it has to be. You can't really make something stereo like manually like that without it almost sounding like it's coming from a direction. Is that right, or is that just
Absolutely.
with this?
Do you have experience with Hass delays? Have you ever used one?
Oh, I've heard about that.
Yeah.
No, I can't remember what it is though.
So that you've basically described a Hass delay.
Oh, if it's less than a 30 millisecond, it kind of sounds like the same sound. If you go beyond that, then it's kind of like a slap.
Go along, I
isn't
think
it?
it's 40 milliseconds. Your brain starts to perceive it as a slapback.
Two separate. Yeah.
But if your ears are hearing the same sound but below 40 milliseconds apart, you're going to perceive it as coming from a direction and being super wide, like almost like it's bouncing off the wall. If you imagine yourself in a medium-sized room and there's something on the left, you're going to hear a reflection from the right-hand side, and that tells your brain that something's far away from you on the left.
Yeah.
So you can recreate that. The danger with that is that it doesn't really sum down to mono very well. And that's kind of why a lot of the grit from this sound comes from a mono source as well.
How much do you check stuff in mono like that?
When I'm doing
Or
a
do you
Hass
not
delay,
wanna
I will check in mono, but sometimes you've got to be ruthless and say, look, if this is the intended feeling of this sound, then who cares?
Yeah.
Like, surely your arrangement should be good enough to be able to sound pretty powerful without a single part there. Like, your dynamics in your arrangement shouldn't suffer if a part is a little bit quieter because it sums down wrong, if that makes sense.
I was going to mention about panning in general as well. Now, this might be me going crazy, but when I just listened to it yesterday, thinking about guitar panning, I would realize that there's a slight wonkiness, but not in the sections. It's like it feels like it evens itself out when you look at the song as a whole. It feels like the first half of the song, there may be slightly more going on the right, and then the second half, there's slightly more going on the left. So it's not like you're balancing it out section by section. You're balancing it out through the whole song. I don't know if you've ever realized that before, but
I do like odd panning in general. I think something that kind of challenges the listener to feel a little bit uncomfortable lets you resolve it later. I don't think I consciously did anything to make the song flow like that as a whole, but in general, I'm not afraid of making a section feel off balance by panning the main rhythm parts.
Yeah, it's when the acoustics come in on that bit we were talking about where it gets quite acoustic. All the Nashvilles and stuff. It feels like most of them are on this side,
right?
But it helps sort of like delineate that.
Well, with the Nashvilles here,
I feel like
solo
I
up the
could
acoustics
on the Senator verse.
Okay, so that is.
Girls just wanna have fun. Yes, it really does matter to me.
I love this part.
That one on the left is more audible in the mix, I think, is what I'm saying.
Right.
So it pokes out that way a bit more.
Yeah, I think when talking about recording acoustics, there are maybe two different schools of thought, where one, you could capture just the feeling of that acoustic in the room. You can use a stereo mic, you can use multiple mics on one guitar to get an image of different things happening in different parts of the stereo field. But I like to just slap one mic up and multi-track and almost treat it like maybe more retro and building up modern pop sounds through the layering and the way that the different parts overlap with each other. And maybe that's like me producing from an arrangement perspective, but I'd rather not just do one acoustic part and capture it in perfect fidelity. I'd rather kind of have control over panning individual parts and use. I was
going to say it kind of gives you more control that way to be able to put things where you want them.
I think it gives you control over how the parts contribute to the arrangement a bit more without really seeing it like you're trying to make this like honest capture of something happening in the room. This is, I think it's just hard panned. Like, you do have to watch out with low end when things are hard panned, because if kind of anything below 250 is super panned, it's going to feel uncomfortable. This brings up
something. Do you remember a couple of can't remember when it was, we were talking about it's when we're recording like just a few weeks ago this year. I mentioned something about sitting in front of a pair of speakers and it feeling like you're in a valley when you listen to like like a modern mix. Right. It's like you're sitting in a valley and you're like, what do you mean? And I heard it described a different way. I can't remember who it was, but I heard someone talking about audio and they explained it as a way of differentiating genres of music. And they said that, and they were talking about low end and where it was in the stereo field. 100%. And like modern pop is all the low end is in the center and all the high like sparkly stuff is on the sides. And when people hear that, they think, oh, modern pop. And then if you think about indie music, it's like you could just hear like a wall of thick low endy guitars coming from you, like from everywhere. Yeah. And then so the shape then is a bit more like that. Instead of like that, instead of a V, it's a bit more sort of, the walls are a lot wider sort of thing.
Right. Of course, there are outliers in every genre, because some of my favorite pop mixes or kind of indie pop mixes will have really wide low mids and just, you feel kind of completely like enveloped in the sound just immediately, like it jumps out at you just because of that wide, warm sound. Whereas like, yes, there's generally a practice in pop music to keep a lot of sub information and kind of anything up to 100 hertz mono. And you get these mono maker plugins and processes where, you can take a band like this and, okay, I've not got the plugin here to do it, but it will literally just make anything below 100 mono. And it's almost like that's a rule, but there are no rules here. The only thing is, when this part is by itself, I didn't want it to feel uncomfortable having a lot of low end pan to your left. Should we have a listen to what that would sound like?
Which, by the way, that EQ curve looks crazy, but is it just me or does Pro Q3 always have a really, from 0 to 50 is like half of the band? I don't know why it does that. That's really strange to me. I guess so you can have more, you can get more specific.
Oh, all this space here.
Do you mean? I mean, I can't even see. I have to look at my screen, but where is that?
Get your monocle out.
Where is that high pass up to?
This high pass is up to 200.
200, so it is quite high, yeah. Which also, looking at that, like, I don't think I would ever do that. So, like, I don't think I'm like aggressive enough with that kind of thing.
But this could also have been a specific thing. The thing is, the sound we were looking for is this sound. This EQ doesn't really tell you that it's going to sound like this, because there's a lot of low end information in this recording. So maybe part of it is just correcting, on the day we had the mic very close, or the strings were quite dark, or the guitar's very large and very boomy. But if I turn this off, panned hard left in headphones, that's kind of uncomfortable. It's a cool feeling though.
Yes, it really does matter to me, Senator. Just tell me what ought to be done.
Yeah, it's just mess, isn't it? Yeah,
it's just mess.
It's just mess.
It's just messy. And also, this is a part where the dynamic of the song drops down. So that information kind of tells you that there's a lot of things happening, which there shouldn't be at this point.
Yeah. Could we look at some crazy stuff on those bridges? I don't know what to call them, that everybody like to think that they're doing their part sections. Couple of things. One is, I had in the demo like this vision of these two rhythm guitar parts that I was really trying to make work with each other, and I was surprised when I looked through the stems that they survived actually, but just one of them won. So the one that's like da, 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 one overall.
Right, yeah.
And then I wanted to mix it
To me, that's
with
the
this
Grease
only
Lightning
way.
part.
Yeah, the Grease Lightning and also Sex Pistols vibe, where it's like do 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 do, and there's like surfy vibe as well.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Let's solo
I
all
don't
the
know.
guitars out.
Yeah.
The contrast there is so cool between all of these sections.
Was that all of the guitars?
That was, I just have a folder called guitar and I soloed the folder.
Wow, okay. But yeah, that one which is more like surfy. I was actually surprised it's still there because you can barely hear it.
I think in the mix I did have to make a decision on which part was going to come out foremost. Yeah. But it doesn't mean that the quiet one isn't there or that it doesn't serve a purpose.
No, I'm sure it serves like some like textural purpose, yeah.
When here's the thing I've been thinking a lot about with mixing recently, which is really leaning into parts being too quiet and allowing them to sit where they naturally should rather than being attached to a part, liking the part and saying it needs to be front and center, allowing it to sit in the back. And I feel like that might be something you've been thinking about more recently as well. Just based off our last time working together. I think there was a lot more clarity behind what the parts were doing.
Yeah, and it goes back to like sort of like taste and what you like. I mean, I've always really liked that wall of sound thing where there's a lot going on and you can't really distinguish what instrument is doing what, but it just sort of makes a sound that is like pleasing.
Right. Yeah.
It's not particularly a modern approach, I don't think. Having said that, like I listened to the new Sabrina Carpenter album and that was the most classic like wall of sound, just like just mesh of like ABBA information of like synths and guitars all doing the same thing, and you can't distinguish one from the other.
None of them are in the front. All working together, and that means you have to like commit to turning them down. Yeah.
But I felt bad in the past by liking what I like, which I know sounds crazy, and I've mentioned this to people before and they think I am crazy, but I've almost felt bad for not liking songs if they're too like, oh, I can hear guitars over here and I can hear keyboards over here.
Right.
I feel like maybe you come from more of a place of like R&B where it is quite high fidelity and you can hear individual things. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but
I think it's about how you write parts and then when it comes to mixing, what you're going to be happy with. We didn't really fight at this part of the mix stage over whether a part was going to be in front or not. I just kind of picked one that I felt like was a bit hookier and brought it up, which enabled the mix to have a certain power at that point. I don't think there's a right or a wrong, and I think you can arrange in whatever way you want.
No, I think definitely in this situation it was the right call because I actually don't think they worked together specifically, those two parts. It was just a moment where I
remember thinking that in the studio as well.
It was just a moment where I kind of wanted it to work more than it did. And, you know, you kind of have to, at some point, just kind of give up and say, well, it doesn't work, so let's do something else.
Yeah.
Another part, if you could just play on the second half of that bridgy bit, there's a bit where I wanted to make it like a Beach Boys moment with the ooh, ooh, which is still there, but again, just much less prominent because if they had been there, it just would have changed the vibe of the song, and it would have become a bit more like this is just completely ridiculous feel change. It kind of reminds me of like, have you ever noticed that the Lemon Twigs songs are like one section is just completely different from another, and it's so jarring, and you either like it or you don't. So if you go down that route, just expect a lot of people to be like, what on earth is going on in this song? But I think you kept it to where it's like it's not too much of a jarring change, but they're still there.
Also,
you know?
By the time we got to recording these, there was a lot in the song already. Like BVs are sometimes left last, especially, and this kind of goes back to what we were talking about at the start, which is what is there when you're initially arranging, demoing, and songwriting. And if there isn't a BV part, but you feel like the song feels pretty good already. And you got to be really careful when adding new parts in and say, is this what's needed, or am I bored?
Yeah, because it almost makes you laugh.
We did the right thing here.
Yeah. Should we have a listen to those?
Let's have a listen in context, then I'll solo them out. Because you probably thought they were, if you were listening to this before, you probably thought they were a synth or something.
Boys just wanna drink, and girls just...
Not that, it's here.
I believe that you are. Everybody wanna do what they've always done. Boys just wanna drink, and girls just wanna...
Right.
They so like sound like a synth, yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like a kind of sound. And there's a synth in there as well.
Oh, there is as well. Interesting.
Very interesting. You probably thought it was a synth then because you were right.
Everybody wanna do what they've always done.
We could have been more liberal with the volume there. But
yeah, it could. It's kind of a crazy idea. So it's one of those things where like I think none of us were like completely sure about it anyway. So yeah, no, I think it would have been. It
divides the section up nicely. In terms of the arrangement, it's a nice part to have in there. But I think to turn it all Beach Boys halfway through could have been a dangerous decision.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I like this part a lot. It happens twice in the song.
Yeah. I want to talk about at some point the vocal treatment that you did to it.
Okay.
And in general, your treatment.
Love your vocals on this.
Oh, well, thank you. I was talking about your delays and reverbs.
They're all in service of your vocals, my friend.
Oh, this vocal is like so. I think. Like if you like music that is melodic, then you're probably not gonna like this song because I don't even know if there is a melody. I mean, there obviously is, but it's so spoken.
Right.
You kind of have to like music that sounds like that, which you could come at that from a couple of ways. You could really like, I don't know. You could even like a lot of like punk stuff. Like if you like Idols, I feel like you might come at it with a bit more understanding of like what it is, or just anything that's a bit more sort of where it's about the lyrics and not about the melody so much.
Right. Yeah. I think this approach to vocals. Let's take a listen to. Is there a part of the song that you feel like really demonstrates a lot of it? Maybe.
I think
where there's some delay throws.
Yeah, well, I don't know. There are definitely delay throws, but you'll have to find them.
Let's find them.
Give me Colombian coffee in the morning. Rice from the Philippines.
In fact, yeah, let's listen to the first verse and how it builds.
I like cheap flights to Europe. I'm burning petrol by the gallon. I want my order delivered by tomorrow. Don't get how you do it, just make it happen. I know about the scene down in Borneo. The palm oil in my chocolate muffin. I don't stand for nothing, me don't stand for nothing.
What a performance.
Give me Colombian coffee in the morning. Rice
And then we have the double.
For tea. I let myself loose on the weekend, cause on Mondays I go meat free. I always round up at the checkout.
And then we don't have a double.
It ain't much, but hey, at least it's something.
A little bit of double. Full double. I remember us really carving out the space in the doubling in that section.
Oh yeah?
I remember, I think we had this whole section doubled and then we went in. Yep.
Oh
and
yeah.
then we muted parts.
Yeah.
I think we doubled every line and then we said, actually, maybe just this needs doubling.
Yeah.
So we went through, cut it up, muted it.
What is going on with when it's on the word happen, the throw that happens there? Because there's quite a prominent one. Don't care how you do it.
Just make it happen.
Make it happen. Don't care how you do it. Just make it happen.
Nothing's happening.
No, solo the lead vocal. I'm sure there's some throws, unless it's something else making that sound.
Just make it happen.
Oh,
Don't stand
okay.
for nothing.
Yeah, let's listen in solo.
Give me Colombian coffee in the morning.
There's an octave under it.
Rice from the Philippines for tea.
Yeah, there's that as well. Yeah.
I let myself loose on the weekend, cause on Mondays I go meat free.
Okay.
There's more
always
throws
round
and
up
stuff
at the
later on in the
checkout.
song, I think.
It ain't much, but hey, at least it's something. I don't stand for nothing, me don't stand for nothing.
Yeah, there's a lot more throws later in the song.
Anything under the sun, me feel good.
It's fine. I don't know where any of them are.
No, I think they're not in there, bro. You must have them coming through.
And never have I boycotted business, and I don't care for protesting much. I like shops with eco goods and coffees in cute little spots.
There we go. So we got.
Oh yeah.
I said I quit buying fast fashion, but you know I was only bluffing. I don't stand for nothing, me don't stand for nothing.
I've always wanted to know what that is.
Oh,
On that
God,
line.
Crazy.
What is going on that line? It feels like doubling, manual doubling and like chorus or something, but
Yeah. So, yeah, across the whole vocal, we have an octave down and a bit of tremolo. Is this adding a bit of width to it? Yeah. So we have this parallel channel, firstly, underneath all of it, just adding a bit of grit. This really is a mix thing to me. I wonder if we'll be able to hear this or not. My bus setup is a bit nuts here. This is absolutely stupid. I don't think we'll ever hear this by itself. Let's ignore that.
too complicated.
Too complicated, but you can hear there's a little octave effect under it. Okay. So what we're listening to here is actually a committed take of all of the processing. But before that point, we have a lot going on this lead bus. So let's take a listen. It's all performance from you, and then just a little bit of tremolo. Really nothing crazy.
Is that the lead vocal? What happens on Me Don't Stand For on that last one?
You weren't happy with this take. Do you remember this? So we punched in Me Don't Stand For. But I think that ended up...
But it's a massive change in sound, though.
It's a huge change in sound, but I felt we could lean into it.
No, but I want to know... But what is it? Because it's
what
not...
What is the change in sound? It's recording the same vocalist on 2 different days. You recorded this vocal day 1, and then you came back on day 2, and your vocal was a bit more fried on one day, a bit fresher on the other.
Really? That
and
fried?
One day is just a bit brighter.
I don't stand for nothing, me don't stand for...
Very nasal on the second one, less nasal on the first.
But come on, I mean, obviously there's something else though. There's like it's almost like broken up, or it's more saturated or something.
It's doubled. Like, it's doubled just for that line.
It's just a double. Okay. So I guess that's doing the chorusing. Yeah.
And yeah, so the doubling is adding. That is the only part of the song where your vocal is doubled up in the lead.
Okay, so I didn't know that was a double. I thought you'd done something just to my take on that line.
Right. Yeah. No. So this was actually what I was thinking when we were talking about your performance style being less melodic. I think when you're thinking about whether you're doubling a vocal and the part is more Idols-like, it's a bit more spoken, unless your vocalist is like exactly the same every time, or unless you're going to go through takes one by one, you do a master take and then you punch in line by line to match the exact tonality, it's just going to sound messy, because if you're shouting lyrics, you're never going to do it the same way twice.
No.
So I think that this is actually quite like philosophically quite an interesting part of the song, where it's like accenting this lyric with the only double in the song, and because it's more of a predictable melody, Me don't stand for, like, you can get
Yeah.
away with it without the arc of it getting messy. There's sometimes a time and a place for slightly messy doubling, but I think throughout a song like this, probably not.
And then I wondered about your thoughts on, like, I remember the first mix that you sent over of this was the vocals were mixed in much more like a rock track. Like
Right.
it was exactly how you expect this track to be mixed. And then I think I sent basically one of my only notes was just asking for it to be turned up. And I wonder firstly,
Right.
what you would have done at that point. Would you have just
Technically how I turned it up.
Yeah, just literally. Do you think you like? And also, if you agreed, first of all, if you were like, "Oh no, what is this? What is it? What are you talking about?" Like, it's where it should be. But for me, it was like this song, because I view it as quite a simple song, like songwriting wise. Like, to me, the main thing is the lyrics, and they have to be heard. Otherwise, there's kind of no point to the song. Like, the point has disappeared. So I think it ended up being mixed much more like a pop track, where the vocals are very much sitting on top throughout the whole thing. And I wonder how like it would be perceived differently if it had been mixed, like the way you initially did it, which is what you expect from a song that sounds like this.
Let's find the initial mix.
I guess it also depends what you listen to it on and stuff. There's probably mediums where the vocal cuts through a lot more,
Yeah.
and on others.
I'd mixed this quite early into the process, and the revision came months later, didn't it?
Oh, really?
Pretty sure, because we'd worked on a few songs at once, and then I mixed this so that we could get on with the next songs and then come back to everything.
Oh, we did all the revisions at the end.
So we did all the revisions at the end once we'd heard all the songs. So that decision to bring up the vocals could have been based off hearing the rest of the songs as well. Let's take a listen to this. This to me I think is V1. I named it a bit weird.
I wonder if we should be. Might prefer it.
I'm burning petrol by the gallon. I want my order delivered by tomorrow. I like cheap flights to Europe.
It's just a bit more upfront in the new one, and a bit more top end to it. And I really like that sizzly top end. I agree with you. I'm not fighting against your decision. I think that's really cool. And I also think that your demo, you had a very distorted vocal on your demo, didn't you? If we flick to the demo quickly.
I like cheap flights to Europe. I'm burning petrol by the gallon.
Almost sounds like it's through a guitar amp, which isn't the vibe of the record.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. The customer is always right.
The customer is always right. I think if an artist wants something done to the mix, I think, everyone is making music in their own ways nowadays and has an idea that needs expressing. I do think the artist is normally right, even if the producer is fighting against it. There's probably a reason, even if they're not able to get into words properly. If you're not going to listen to the feedback that an artist is giving you on work that you've done for them, then you're probably not on the right page with why you're working together in the first place. And I think that's a really important thing. I find it really, really important to stick through the mixing process with the artist, especially when I'm producing and mixing a song with them.
Yeah.
You've got to honor every little change, every little idea. And if you really think that they're chasing their own tail, you should say that. But if you're just upset that you have to open the project again, you gotta think twice before opening your mouth, I think.
At least the mix recalls now are as simple as open the project. So
exactly. I understand back in the day when mix recalls were harder, but I think the same idea applies. Like, if your mix recall system is all analog and you can't honor the artist, you're going to need to build in a workflow that enables you to do that. Or you're going to have a conversation up front about the ethos of how you record with people. Because it's not fair to not honor ideas that somebody else is trying to put into their art, I think.
Yeah, totally. What I'd like to really listen to is some of the sound effects.
Yeah.
Not the obvious ones, the ones that you actually can't hear so much. Like there's a protest march going on. There's some drumming, like offbeat drumming.
Yeah. This is so funny that I've just gone on a rant about listening to what the artist has to say. But do you remember the pushback I gave you about the protest sounds?
Oh yeah, well I think it was there was some searching for samples and stuff that actually worked in the song,
right?
And didn't. But I think we found something that like
when it comes to adding samples to songs, and I think you'd probably agree, I think they're a lot more meaningful when the artist has recorded them themselves or scouted them out and dug through crates to find them, rather than just trying to pull in samples here and there and say, oh, this song needs a sample. But you had this idea all along when working on this song that there were going to be protest sounds in it.
Yeah.
So
and it goes back to the other thing. They're not mixed in over the top, so you almost wouldn't really. You kind of hear it just as noise, which is the idea. But where does it start? It comes out of. It's from the last riff into the solo, isn't it?
You're so predictable.
Only bluffing. I don't stand for nothing. Me don't stand for nothing.
Harmonica.
You basically wanted this section to sound like the feeling of turning on the news after a long day at work and everything's bad.
Yeah. And that's you reading out literally BBC News. I found the article the other day. I tried to look it up.
Did you?
If you look up your quote, like the UK has had its second recorders February. I found the article that we read from. But let's hear the protest.
Let me sell this out. So there's a bit of I used it as a crash coming into the next section.
It's not really a protest, is it? It's like car horns and some sort of...
I think it's a celebration.
Like an army march, almost. Not an army march, but yeah.
Okay, so there's the kind of horn sound, which does swell, and then there's the marching. To be honest, it doesn't sound very protesty. I think we could have found some better protest noises.
No, yeah. But also the thing that kind of makes it more protesty is the BVs, which is like and by the way, the reference for this, my ones where I go like, it's so predictable. Those BVs. The reference for that was definitely like The Wall, like Pink Floyd. There's a bit at the end. The bit is like something about meat and pudding. I don't know if you know the song, but
I know I've heard it. I can't.
It's like, if you don't eat your meat, you can't have any pudding. How can you have any pudding if you can't eat your meat? So it was that vibe.
Every goddamn time, it's so predictable.
The UK as a whole saw its second warmest recorded February.
Oh yeah, and the screams. The screams make it a tiny bit more mayhem.
There's a little bad edit here.
Hello. And there's like a TV sound right at the end.
Oh, I love this. It's tiny. It's in detail.
I don't know what language it's in, but I don't think it's English.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
It's this. It's like this has been the news at 10.
Yeah.
Good evening. Good night. Whatever they say. If I take off the effects.
Oh wow.
I have no idea what he's saying. Someone could translate that. But we also didn't want to risk not knowing what it said, so we basically made it unintelligible.
Thank God for that.
Yeah.
Could be something terrible. One thing that we skipped over, can we go back and hear the processing on the claps, which do you know those chucks in the riff?
Yes.
The chucks, which I didn't realize were claps until I looked through the stems the other day and saw that they were labeled claps. Yeah, did we record that and you messed with it, or was that a sample as well?
I think that was recorded.
Yeah.
Oh, it's beautiful.
So how do you do that?
Record some claps in quite a bright sounding room. and then add a bunch of effects. And this single one is panned mono, and then the rest are panned stereo. In context.
Oh, don't get how you do it, just make it happen. I know about the
Really cool.
That makes that section pop a lot more than it would.
Let's pile the effects on backwards. So we went from here. 80s reverb.
So like
non-linear.
just like sort of room sort of.
Yeah, well, this is a like a gated reverb sound. Then made it brighter. Clip it pretty clipped.
Nice. Yeah.
Take off some top end after the clipping. So what that's done is that's really like fuzzed out the high end and then bringing it back down. So I'm kind of pushing top end into the clipper, and then boosting it back again.
Adding it back.
At this point in my mixing journey, I was very additive. I think people talk about additive mixing and subtractive mixing. I heard someone talk about this recently, which is where some mixers like to take these different approaches where either they're adding things to slot them into the mix, adding frequencies, or they're taking frequencies away to clean up parts of the mix that overlap each other. And at this stage in my journey, I loved mixing additively. And I think the song kind of sounds like it, but it's a very vintage way of mixing, I think, as well, because your ability to subtract frequencies was
much lesser. Yeah,
it was much lesser. They hadn't invented EQs that could be super surgical.
Yeah. Until they brought out super surgical SSLs on the desk where you could do that with every channel.
Aren't that surgical still compared to what you can do now with a really tight band. You couldn't do that. So
what was I going to say? And also just the philosophy of if you were to change your mind, like if you were to mix it a certain way and then go do something else and then come back and you're like, actually, I want to make that brighter, whether you just add another plugin or dig back into what you did. Do you know what I mean? Like that, I'm sure people do that differently as well.
Yeah, I generally don't like to go back. I'll normally just add another plugin. So you can see that's what I've done here. Yeah. Like I could have just boosted this exact band probably and widened it a bit and then I'm there. But I don't want to really touch this. Like I might as well have committed up to here like this.
Yeah.
And then, decided that this part should sit. I don't know when I added this.
Yeah. Should we have a look at the mix bus stuff as well?
Okay. What do you want to know?
I really don't really have any idea of what would be on there. I assume it's quite light stuff. Like I'm not expecting anything major, but I could be wrong. I don't know. And I wonder how much if you do have like any limiting or compression on there, how much it changes the overall mix. And also I'd like to know if you mix into that or if that's something you do.
Well, afterwards. I probably would have mixed with a little bit of this going on.
Don't stand for nothing, me don't stand.
And that just helps me firstly, just know that the song's going to be competitive in terms of loudness and that where things are sitting in the mix aren't causing any issues with how it's going to be mastered, which is very common practice. It doesn't really change the sound of the song. It's just a tool. If you're boosting things too loud and it starts to distort a limiter, then you might need to think, okay, am I using energy in the wrong places in this mix? So monitoring and mixing through a limiter is quite useful.
Would that be something you take off then when you do send it off for mastering?
By the time it goes off to mastering, generally I take off. If there's on the mix bus, if there's a limiter, I normally take it off. But sometimes I'll put a limiter on the music bus, and that can really change how the drums can interact with the vocal and the mix bus and the instrumental. Normally, if I've mixed with a limiter on the music bus, I'll leave it on the music bus, going into the mix bus. So generally the music bus is, I'm pretty sure in this song, sometimes I'll mess with my routing and I'll be like, oh, okay, this guitar part should go straight to the mix and bypass the music bus. It's just the way I work sometimes. So it can get a bit messy. This color coding is quite useful for that. But
does your music include drums?
So I've got, this was back when I used to use a drum and bass bus, which I prefer not to do it now. I think it really, when using live instruments, it can really make it feel like it's in the same room. But at the all the processing you do will probably reduce the clarity between the low end parts of those sounds.
But then your drum and bass bus isn't going into your all music bus, or it is?
It is. My drum and bass bus is going
Okay.
into my all music. But sorry, I was just explaining why and when I'd use a drum and bass bus. And I'm doing quite a lot of compression, bit of parallel compression, more parallel compression, and lots of distortion. So together, there's a lot happening. If I take off, and sometimes this really helped me get the grit on this song. If I take them off, it's quite stylized. Like I prefer using these processes for style rather than necessarily like correction or trying to keep things as clean as possible. I have no problem getting messy with it. But then into the music bus, okay, we have, is this side chained? No, it's not. So let's see what this is doing.
Just make it happen.
Controlling the low mids a bit. And boosting transients on the whole music bus, which is a bit odd. But I think it sounds nice. And I think that's because this took away a lot of transient information. I wanted everything to kind of punch together and glue together.
Yeah. With the transient stuff, that's something I've never gotten into, and I know it's probably really important, especially if you are trying for like a more modern sound where it's been shaped a bit more on purpose. Then I feel like it is something to. But I don't really kind of understand what they do. Where I guess it's just sort of like how much each transient is attacking or and decaying and adjusting those things.
Right. I think the key to actually using these processes delicately is monitoring and understanding what needs to be changed about the signal or what could be more exciting. If you're using it in a production context, you'll probably be using it more aggressively than in a mix context. Doing 19% on this, we can hear the difference. If I mute the vocals.
By tomorrow, don't get how you do it, just make it happen. I know about the scene down in Borneo, the palm oil
and it's changing the attack on the kick a little bit, but this is across all of the music, which means that when the kick drum punches, the guitars are going to punch a little bit more as well, which I think is quite important for this song to glue together. But I wouldn't call it like the most important part of this mix.
No.
When using a plugin like this in a production context, you can use it to make snare drums longer or snare drums shorter or hi-hats really punchy, and then use it as a sound design tool, which I think is where I'll be using it more if I'm not mixing.
Yeah, I guess like if you were like had like programmed drums or something and you found a sample that you really like, but it's just not quite right, you would use it to shape. Yeah, I should like. Is there a plugin that you would say like to get into it? Is that
Transient Master? There are basically two main ones that most people have. There's Transient Master, and if you get the Kilohertz bundle, which is this amazing free bundle, there's also their Transient Shaper, which is excellent, really good, almost better than Transient Master. Then there's also the SPL, UAD SPL, which I of course don't have, but it looks like this. And this is the classic, this kind of invented transient shaping as a hardware unit.
Yeah. And then, not to get too nerdy, but you just made me think of it because we were talking about it earlier. When we were talking about the shape of low end in different genres, how much do you use like mid-side processing?
Not a lot these days.
Really?
I found that what it does is it narrows your stereo image a lot. And if you have super wide guitars and then you're doing any kind of mid-side shaping in the low end, those guitars are going to crossfeed a little bit more, and things aren't going to have the same level of pinpoint accuracy in the stereo image. So generally I'm not mid-side processing a huge amount, but there are some mixes where it calls for just a little bit of width in one area or just that. I kind of leave that stuff up to mastering.
Right.
Sometimes I will shape mid-side, but I try not to do it across the whole bus. I try to keep it to groups or to individual parts for carving out or creating a feeling. What I do sometimes though, and I didn't do this here, is I really enjoy playing with phase inverted signals, like positive phase in one, negative phase in the other, and then using that as a width tool. and sometimes parallel processing that, which I find it really interesting feeling. And you hear it a lot more in modern mixes now. Because if you think about the way that an iPhone speaker presents sound, iPhone speakers are now stereo. So if someone's hearing your song on an iPhone and it's not from a source that is summing things down to mono, that it doesn't matter if your channels are out of phase with each other, they're still going to hear the part. So quite major parts of songs now you'll find are completely out of phase between channels. And I love playing with that because it's a super cool feeling. Don't know if you ever wired up a speaker incorrectly or flipped the phase on one side, but there's nothing that sounds like it. It's really cool. Should I just run the mix through it? What a strange feeling. The way it makes the low end feel like it's kind of inside you. I can't.
To what extent would that be used then? Because obviously it would have to be pretty subtle.
I love using it on things like pads, things like piano parts, or
so individual
or
things,
ear candy parts. Yeah, individual things. Yeah, and that's when I'm really playing with mid-side processing a lot of the time now. But that's
Makes
just where
sense.
I'm at right now. That's quite a ramble. Maybe we'll save this for the Patreon exclusive.
This is getting into the weeds now.
Yeah.
And
Mix
then
bus.
how much? Yeah, no, but seriously, how much? And then like in terms of EQ, how much like tonally is changing on the mix bus, or is it not that much?
I normally do quite a bit of tonal shaping on the mix bus. I got 4 dB low end and a bit of carving out below that. That's kind of like a Pultec thing.
Yeah.
And I've got a bit of saturation going. Okay, tonally, this is doing a lot.
That's very dramatic, I feel like.
Yeah. But the key is having practices that you kind of treat as starting the mix
Special
and
guest.
midway through the mix. Have we got a special guest?
Sorry, yeah.
I'm switching my
Been and gone.
camera.
Been and gone.
Yeah, it really depends on where you're adding them in, what process of the mix, whether it's halfway through and you're kind of reshaping things dramatically once parts are balanced and feeling right, or whether you're starting off your mix with a massive move. Sometimes I'll do EQ moves like this towards the end.
That is a crazy move right there.
Yeah. Oh, I'm just taking out some sub. But yeah.
Oh, I guess, yeah. It's on that Pro Q3, man. It's always looks like
you don't know how to read it.
Low end.
Yeah, no, I'm not taking much out.
That's literally like 20, isn't it?
I'm taking out below 40. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's for a song like this. Why do you need 40 information when the song is this fast and the song is this rocky and mid-focused? Having too much sub information is probably not right for the genre. But that is engineering.
There we go.
There we go. There we have it.
Amen.
Amen.
Cool.
Yeah, man.
I think that just about covers it, to be honest.
Blimey, we've gone over a lot. This is cool. Yeah.
That was a lot.
I'm going to stop sharing my screen. There we go. Yeah. Amazing
Perfect.
stuff. This is cool. Well,
Yeah.
let's wrap this one up and then I'll stop recording the thing. Should we say goodbye to the people?
Yeah, goodbye. Thanks for asking me to look through this song. I don't know who would be interested, but maybe one or two.
Yeah, I think if you've watched to the end, you're a very special person to both of us.
Definitely. And you learned something about EQ and compression. And so did
I am not the oracle of knowledge for this. I figured it all out myself. So if you've learned something, then I think that's awesome. Yeah.
Cool, man.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah. Speak to you soon.